Everybody, Renfail here, back again with more Enshrouded, the game that has started to consume my life just a little bit because it's really fun in ways that I didn't anticipate. Now, if you haven't already played this game yet, it's an early access title. It's on Steam. It will be coming to multiple platforms later on, but it is worth noting that it's an early access title as of right now, so you might see some bugs and quirks and things of that nature. But it's been pretty good so far, and I want to dive in and give you guys sort of a new player's guide to sort of the 5 essential tips that I think are important for new players, because there's definitely been a bit of a learning curve here for me, and it's probably going to be the same for everyone. So hopefully you find this guide useful. If it's your first time tuning into one of my videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams here and on Twitch because we multi-stream, and I play a lot of different games, so check out all the other playlists. But in the meantime, let's talk about my first tip, which is the power of sneak attack. Never, ever underestimate sneak attack. So it's very useful, especially when you are looking at mobs like what we're about to find over here, like these sheep as an example. The sheep will run away from you if you try to get up on them without using sneak. But if you go up into the sneak itself, you can sneak up behind these targets, and it allows you to get really up close and damage, and really up close and do extra damage. And if you do it properly, the extra damage you're going to do from that sneak attack will allow you to one-shot, in some cases, some of these guys. But you'll notice, like, if I try to run up to this sheep right now, they run away. So you have to go in a sneak and find a way to get up behind them without alerting them to your presence. This is very useful for picking off individuals if you're going up against large groups of mobs. If you can manage to sneak your way in, kill one, maybe pull a couple, run away, and then come back in for more, that's a great way to do it. So that is the first tip, is that you should be sneaking as often as you can, because it is extremely useful for getting up on guys unawares and doing that extra bit of damage. And when you start dealing with like the mobs that are higher level than you, it's extremely important to get as much damage as you can out of the gate, so that you can actually take them down quicker. And if you have multiple mobs at the same time, it really does help out. Next up in your skill tab, the first abilities that I took were in the assassin line. I took immediately the sneak attack ability as soon as I was able to get this. This allows you to do 10 times damage to unaware enemies. And then from here, I also went into the backstab damage. Now what's interesting about this is sneak attacks only count for when you're doing damage to unaware enemies. Right? Once they're aware of you, you no longer get the sneak attack, but you can still get backstab damage on targets from being behind them, even when you're in active combat. So if you stun a mob and you run around behind them, you can hit them from behind. Or if they get in some sort of a stunned state from doing combos to you, you just run around and hit them from behind. And it works with any of the different types of weapons. It's not just melee weapons. So you could do ranged attacks, all sorts of different attacks give you additional damage from being behind. Now, this allows you to do even more damage than normal. It increases your backstab damage by 25%. So these two, in my mind, are the two first abilities you should take to help your combat be a little bit easier. And from here, you can work on sort of figuring out what direction you want to go. I know a lot of people like this one over here, which is the, I think it's called double jump. Yeah, double jump is one that a lot of people have recommended when it comes to building, but that's more for building than anything else. I'm focused more on the survivability of new players out of the gate. And if you don't want to get overwhelmed by lots of mobs, you definitely want to be sneaking around as much as possible, especially when you're going into camps and things. And the mobs that are going to be running away from you, like the deer and rams and so on and so forth, because you need their hides and their meat. So getting that extra little bit of sneak attack in the skills is highly vital to be able to take down things efficiently. And also getting that backstab damage so that you can do additional damage to mobs anytime you're behind them. This works for inside and outside of combat. Really helps with the survivability and to be able to take down enemies as quickly as possible so that you can get the most out of combat situations and hopefully take them out in 1 or 2 shots so that you can deal with the next ones. All right, when it comes to building things, you're going to find that one of the biggest construction, well, especially if we go over here to the forge and the forge master, one of the biggest materials that you're going to lack is going to be metal scraps, which are used for all sorts of different things. Let's go in here and talk to him so that I can actually see this. So many of the things that he wants to make, like nails, require metal scraps. Felling axes, metal scraps. Pickaxes, metal scraps. Lockpicks, metal scraps. Shields, metal sheets, which require metal scraps. These, which require metal sheets, which require metal scraps. So on and so forth. almost everything that the blacksmith makes requires metal scraps, and this was a pressure point for me because where do you find metal scraps in the game? Because it's not like all the other resources that are readily available, like twigs and tree parts and rocks and things of that nature that you can easily come across in the wild. Metal scraps were much harder to come across. I did find a little bit of a place close by, which is going to be in a separate video, the location of that. But the one thing I can say is if you're looking for where to find metal scraps in the beginning of the game, here's what you're essentially looking for. Anytime you see buildings like this up here, or this little settlement over here that's ahead of me, anytime you see buildings and settlements of that kind, you're going to want to explore those. There's probably going to be NPCs inside, things that will attack you, and things that you can loot. All of those have the chance to have metal scraps. More importantly, you can destroy many of the objects that you find in these little settlements, which allows you to loot more metal scraps. Now, things do appear to respawn based upon, like, if you log out and then you come back tomorrow, things will generally be back again, so you can make rotations each time you play to get more metal scraps. But I have found metal scraps to be the #1 pressure point for my construction in the game. Once you know where to find them, it helps things along and speeds it up quite a bit. I have a couple of hotspots that I think are perfect for getting lots of metal scraps, which again, different video. I don't want to clutter that up here. But the tip that I can give you here is anytime you see a settlement, make sure to go there, search it, destroy everything, take out all the NPCs that are there, because that's the only place you're going to be getting metal scraps. You can't really make them from anything else. They are a lootable only object as of this recording. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Now, I am not a person who necessarily likes to spend all of my time building. I definitely like to spend more of my time exploring, leveling up, and getting gear. I've made myself a full set of leather gear, but in order to get there and to build this little structure for my blacksmith, this is nothing pretty. This is just a simple structure. I needed to first get this here up and going, which is the smoker, a charcoal kiln is what it's called. Then there was the forge, and then there was the crafting table is the first thing you make, and after that is this, the kiln, and then after that is the forge. Now, I highly recommend building these as quickly as possible because they do help you make a lot of gear out of the gate. So I was able to make everything I'm wearing except for this axe. This axe I actually found in the wild. I got this off of the first Cinderwell boss, I believe. But everything else, being able to craft your own items, weapons, and so on and so forth, wands, being able to craft all these items and the gear that you want to wear is going to be vital to surviving. So you want to get these things built as quickly as possible, if only for the gear's sake. But there is also a secondary component to this, and this is the other reason why I want you to build these as quickly as possible. So first and foremost, if you're running out of storage space, because this is a reality here, when you're playing this game, you don't have a lot of storage space. You have these two action bars down here, and you have this backpack up top. That's what you get to start the game with. Once those slots are filled, you have to then create storage containers, which you can make, such as this storage container, which gives you this amount of slots over there. However, one of the cool things is that when you look at the kiln and the forge in particular, it has a bunch of slots as well. Now, theoretically, the way the forge or the kiln would work is if you put a couple of things that make a recipe in that kiln, it will start making those recipes until it runs out of the ingredients. But you can also just store all sorts of stuff in here, and because it's not any sort of particular combination for a known recipe, it acts as an additional storage facility. So instead of having to waste material on making useless boxes, they're not useless per se, but they are just empty storage facilities. You can actually come in here and use your kiln as a storage device, and you can also go over here to your forge and use this as a storage device as well, which allows you to have additional storage space with crafting devices that aren't necessarily just a storage unit. So this being a storage unit, there's nothing else I can do with it other than to store things in. Whereas this has a practical use as a crafting machine that I can also store things in. And then when I come here to make things, I just pull everything out. And it's really quick on the bottom. You'll see here I could just do where it says take all. Just hit this and it takes it all out. And I can also deposit all like that. And it just randomly deposits items like so. So I can bring it all back into my inventory, put it all back in. It's literally that simple. It's a great tip that I found for early storage when I wasn't able to find things in the game because I was like, oh my god, I can't pick this up because I'm already too full. And where am I going to put this? I'm going to have to make more storage boxes. And then I was like, oh, wait, I can actually stuff things in here and not need storage boxes. I don't know. I thought it was a cool tip. It worked for me. So that's where I'm at with that. In any case, those are my 5 essential tips for new players here in Enshrouded if you're playing this game for the first time. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you are playing the game. It's been sort of a sleeper hit for me. I wasn't anticipating this. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully you're tuning in for the live streams and the videos. If you aren't and you haven't already done so, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Check out all the videos. We do a lot. There's tons of playlists, play a lot of different games, multi-stream here and on Twitch. There's a Discord. You can also get a copy of my latest book. Links are down there. It's a fantasy novel, Dragonlance, Forgotten Realms, that kind of stuff. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the next Enshrouded live stream or game guide. Until then, everybody, stay tuned. Happy gaming.